In late 2024, the BBC issued a rare public apology, an event that would send shockwaves through the global media landscape and ignite heated debates across newsrooms and living rooms alike. The apology was directed at none other than former US President Donald Trump, a figure who has long been at the center of media controversies and political storms. This wasn't a minor correction or a simple clarification. It was a sweeping, unequivocal admission of journalistic failure that stunned both critics and supporters of the BBC. The controversy erupted after Panorama, the BBC's flagship investigative program, known for its hard-hitting journalism, aired a selectively edited Trump speech that quickly became the focus of international scrutiny. Key remarks from Trump's address were cut, fundamentally altering the context and distorting his message. Millions of viewers were left with a misleading narrative that did not reflect the full truth. Investigations revealed that the edit wasn't accidental or the result of a technical oversight. It was a calculated, deliberate choice made by the production team, raising serious ethical concerns. The fallout was immediate and intense. Outrage erupted on social media, with critics accusing the BBC and other legacy media outlets of actively shaping political outcomes rather than simply reporting the news. The BBC, long regarded as a global symbol of impartiality and journalistic integrity, suddenly found itself at the center of a scandal that was quickly dubbed the billion-dollar media scandal by international headlines. The reputational damage was incalculable, with staff morale plummeting and public trust in the institution shaken to its core. Never before had a media giant of the BBC's stature issued such a direct public apology to a political figure over editorial manipulation, setting a precedent that would be discussed for years to come. The event exposed deep institutional biases and raised urgent, uncomfortable questions about the role of media in shaping public opinion and the fragile nature of public trust. In this script, we'll break down the controversial edits, analyze the global reaction, and explore the internal crisis that rocked the BBC from within. We'll also examine the broader implications for media credibility worldwide, as news organizations everywhere grapple with the fallout and reassess their own editorial standards. Ultimately, this story isn't just about one speech or one network. It's about the fragile trust between the public and those who inform them, and the responsibility that comes with shaping the narrative. The BBC's unprecedented apology marked a turning point in the ongoing debate over media ethics, transparency, and accountability, a moment that will be remembered as a defining chapter in the history of modern journalism. In October 2024, Donald Trump delivered a major speech at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania, a state known for its pivotal role in American elections. The event drew thousands, with supporters waving American flags and the atmosphere charged with anticipation. Trump's address focused heavily on international trade and the future of American jobs, topics that have long resonated with his base and shaped his political identity. In his full remarks, Trump strongly criticized what he called globalist policies that, in his view, have harmed American workers. However, he was careful to clarify his position, stating, "We must reject these globalist agreements, but this does not mean we reject our allies or international cooperation." This distinction was crucial, as it signaled that Trump was not advocating for total isolation, but rather for fairer deals that put American interests first while still engaging with the world. When the BBC's Panorama program aired their coverage, they included only the line, "We must reject these globalist agreements," cutting out the important context that followed. The omission was subtle, but significant. The program then framed Trump's words as evidence of an extreme isolationist stance, suggesting he wanted to turn America away from the world stage entirely. By removing his clarifying remarks, the BBC transformed what was a nuanced policy argument into a blunt, hostile soundbite. The edit stripped away the complexity of Trump's position, leaving viewers with a misleading impression. This wasn't just a routine trim for time or clarity, it was a deliberate editorial choice that fundamentally changed the meaning of Trump's message. The BBC's defense, that the omitted phrases were less impactful, quickly fell apart under scrutiny. Critics pointed out that the missing context was essential to understanding Trump's intent. Journalistic ethics demand that the core message of a speaker be preserved, not distorted or replaced with a new narrative. Selective editing undermines public trust and the integrity of reporting. The edit fit neatly into a pre-existing media narrative, Trump as a reckless isolationist, uninterested in global cooperation. This narrative has been repeated so often that even small editorial choices can reinforce it. This is a classic example of how media bias often operates, not through outright fabrication, but through selective omission and emphasis, shaping public perception in subtle but powerful ways. As a result, viewers were left with a skewed and incomplete understanding of Trump's actual position, making it harder to engage in informed debate. This incident has become a textbook case in media studies, illustrating how partial truths can be just as misleading as outright falsehoods. It's a reminder of the importance of media literacy and critical thinking. The true power of media lies not only in what is shown, but also in what is left out. Omission can be as influential as inclusion. This single act of manipulation sparked a global debate about trust in news organizations, the responsibilities of journalists, and the need for transparency in reporting. The controversy continues to shape discussions about media bias and accountability worldwide. Trump's response was immediate and explosive. He took to Truth Social, accusing the BBC of propaganda and deliberate character assassination. Trump posted side-by-side clips of the BBC's edit and his full speech, making the deception undeniable. His supporters mobilized online, launching the vowed BBC scandal hashtag and demanding accountability. Conservative politicians in the UK and US seized on the incident, calling for investigations and public hearings. The outrage forced the BBC to confront the issue head-on. The story shifted from Trump's speech to the BBC's journalistic malpractice. The scale and clarity of the evidence left the broadcaster with no room to deflect. The internal fallout at the BBC was swift and severe, sending shockwaves through every department. As the news broke, a sense of disbelief and anxiety gripped the organization, with staff members left questioning the future of their workplace and the values it stood for. The executive producer of Panorama was the first to resign, taking full responsibility for the controversial edit that sparked the crisis. His departure was seen as both an act of accountability and a signal that deeper issues were at play within the editorial process. Soon after, the head of News and Current Affairs stepped down, a move that underscored the scale of the systemic failure. This resignation sent a clear message that the problems extended far beyond a single program or individual. The resignations exposed a deep cultural rift within the BBC over its journalistic mission, with staff divided over how to balance editorial independence and institutional responsibility. Tensions flared in editorial meetings, as some called for sweeping reforms while others defended long-standing practices. The Director General's resignation followed, marking a public admission of corporate failure at the very highest level. His emotional statement acknowledged the pain caused to staff and viewers alike, and the urgent need for change. These high-profile departures weren't just symbolic, they were necessary steps to restore credibility and begin the process of healing. The BBC's leadership recognized that only decisive action could start to repair the damage. However, these resignations left a significant leadership vacuum during a time of crisis, creating uncertainty about who would guide the organization through its most challenging period in decades. The scandal revealed that the problem wasn't just a few bad actors, but a widespread breakdown of standards, oversight, and internal communication. Investigations uncovered lapses in compliance and a failure to uphold the BBC's core values. The BBC's reputation as a global news leader was shaken to its core, with headlines around the world questioning the future of the institution and its ability to maintain public trust. The resignations were a painful but essential reckoning, forcing the BBC to confront uncomfortable truths and begin the difficult process of self-examination. The institution now faced a long and uncertain road to rebuild trust, both internally among its staff and externally with its global audience. The journey ahead would require transparency, accountability, and a renewed commitment to the highest standards of journalism. Under mounting pressure, the BBC board issued a formal public apology. The statement acknowledged a profoundly misleading edit and a breach of trust. The BBC admitted the edit reinforced negative stereotypes rather than informing the public. An independent review of editorial guidelines was promised to prevent future manipulation. The apology addressed viewers directly, admitting the BBC had let down millions who rely on its impartiality. The offending Panorama episode was removed from all platforms, and a correction aired in its place. These actions aimed to demonstrate genuine accountability. The apology was both crisis management and a necessary admission of failure. The BBC's relationship with its audience had been severely damaged. Rebuilding that trust would require more than words. The scandal sparked fierce debate among political leaders. UK Conservatives used it to question the BBC's funding and call for tougher oversight. Labour condemned the edit but warned against dismantling public broadcasting. The incident highlighted the BBC's central role and vulnerability in British politics. Internationally, populist leaders cited the scandal as proof of media bias. Centrist and left-leaning governments warned that such failures undermine democracy itself. The event became a rallying cry for those seeking to delegitimize mainstream media. The global reaction underscored the high stakes for press credibility. The BBC's edit wasn't an isolated case. Public broadcasters in Sweden and Australia aired the same misleading Trump clip. This revealed a global media echo chamber, where narratives are replicated across borders. The truncated footage likely came from a shared news feed, but each broadcaster independently chose the same edit. This points to a pervasive groupthink within Western media. When major outlets echo each other, a biased framing quickly becomes accepted truth. The public receives a single, distorted perspective from multiple trusted sources. The spread of the edited clip showed how systemic bias can be laundered through repetition. The scandal exposed the dangers of a homogenized global media landscape. The BBC faces severe, lasting consequences. Public trust, its most valuable asset, has been shattered for many. The scandal has fueled calls to overhaul or scrap the BBC's license fee funding model. Internationally, rivals use the incident to question Western media's objectivity. The BBC's soft power and global influence have been diminished. Internally, the crisis has created fear and uncertainty among journalists. The challenge is to restore ethical standards without stifling bold reporting. The path to credibility will be long and difficult. At its core, this scandal is about trust between the media and the public. The BBC's manipulation was a violation of that trust and a reminder of the power and responsibility of journalism. When respected institutions fail, the damage is profound, fueling cynicism and conspiracy. The demand for honest reporting is not partisan, it's essential for democracy. This event should inspire renewed skepticism and media literacy among citizens. Journalists must recommit to accuracy, context, and fairness. The BBC's apology as a stark lesson deception will be exposed in the digital age. The truth, ultimately, has a power of its own. Even the most respected institutions are accountable to the public they serve.